Hi, welcome mamas. Today, I want to help with easing anxiety in postpartum or anxiety that's lasting beyond postpartum for you. So if you've ever noticed mulling on the same thoughts over and over, or feeling jittery, uneasy, pretty constant tension in your muscles, getting easily irritated, I definitely have that one sometimes. Intrusive thoughts coming in about like what could happen to your child, or if you're easily overwhelmed or flooded. These are just some symptoms or signs that you may be experiencing anxiety. And it's super common in the transition to parenthood, and it's awful. It's really unsettling, and it definitely robs so much joy from beautiful moments we could be connecting to. There's a lot of suffering that comes from this kind of angst. I have actually been through it. I was through this with my first. I don't wish it on anyone. And I've sat with many women who, once they release, once they're able to feel more grounded and less tangled up and with this just tangled anxiety ball inside them, the relief that comes, the ability to connect with their partner, their child in different ways, to enjoy it in ways that are so different, is just so beautiful to see. And I'd like to help anyone listening here, any of the moms listening or partners listening, to find ways to get to that place more easily. I'm going to give some very clear, simple tips on how in your relationships you can get that kind of help from your partner to get some of the root of the anxiety, to feel a little bit more safe and grounded, and to get some relief. You should not be going through this alone, okay? When anxiety comes up, it's a sign that some feelings inside feel like a threat, and your body's getting primed to protect or deflect, being present and grounded because something feels threatening or dangerous in the feelings that we're having. And just quickly, I want to make some distinctions between what's fear, what's anxiety, and what are feelings. Because I hear even some fellow therapists sometimes describe anxiety as a feeling. It's not. Okay, fear is like mortal fear, right? Like if there's a bear in front of you and you're afraid you're going to get mauled, that's physical fear, okay? Anxiety is a sign and signals that are happening in your body when feelings are getting suppressed. Anxiety is not a feeling. So let's say we're really angry at our mom for criticizing us about something that we're doing with our baby, and we feel anger towards our mom, but it's really uncomfortable to feel anger towards our mom, and we feel like we should only be grateful or loving towards our mom. Then anxiety is going to come up because it's like there's something jittery in the body's going, no, 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 don't feel this. Nope, nope, nope. It's not safe to feel this. Okay, so feelings, emotions are, for example, anger, love, surprise, remorse, disgust, like those are basic love. Those are basic feelings. And anxiety is a sign that, some of those feelings are not okay to sit with. Something's really uncomfortable. Okay. When there's, pregnancy and early parenting, our threat detection system can be even higher, and our body can be even like biologically primed to scan for danger, right? Sometimes, right, you might be lying awake, replaying, hey, is the baby breathing? Is the baby breathing? Even after multiple checks, or getting panicky when your baby cries, or even for moms with, older babies, older children, that there can be a pretty big anxiety response, just adapting to parenting children and the relationship changes that happen when children come. Now, I want to get like the biohormonal stuff out of the way. I am going to be focusing more on emotional, but I definitely want to acknowledge this. So the hormonal shifts, the biological changes and sleep deprivation, and even if you're not sleep deprived, just the amount of responsibility that is on moms, like our resources are less, right? So there's going to be rapid drops in estrogen, progesterone, or there's going to be cortisol like flying through our system. And that affects mood regulation. It affects our regulation of our feelings. Definitely with broken sleep, like that can increase anxiety and reactivity for sure. Sometimes we might feel calm during the day, but then something hits and we start spiraling. Something can get triggered, or after a few rough nights, everything can feel darker or more tense. So definitely when there's anxiety, you definitely need to address basic needs getting met. Like, are you eating? Are you sleeping even a little bit? Trying to get a little more sleep if that's possible. I know sometimes it's just not possible, because you want to be primed for if some of those basic needs are getting met, then we can be able to spend more time in the emotional. And today I am going to spend more time in the emotional nervous system kind of piece. If you want to start a podcast or grow your existing one, Juliana Barbati and her team have you covered. They handle the entire process from building episode funnels to production and marketing, so you can focus on reaching your audience. Visit julianabarbati.com and let them know I sent you. So when I mentioned that anxiety is a sign that feelings are getting suppressed, well, imagine in this time in your life where, again, a huge adjustment, right? Like you have so much less resources for yourself. You are giving. There's an adjustment to parenting, adjustment in your romantic relationship, adjustment with your extended family, with your own identity. Well, that's going to bring up feelings about this new role, about how people are showing up for you, about your feelings towards your baby, feelings towards extended family members, and that's all natural. It can be uncomfortable for moms to have mixed feelings about parenthood, to have mixed feelings about this new transition, right? Like we're supposed to just feel nothing but love and gratitude for our baby. Well, after the 17th night of not getting any sleep, it might be pretty natural to feel irritated. Remember, feelings are not behaviors. I'm not talking about like lashing out at your child, and quite the opposite. Actually, when we're able to feel what we're feeling, it actually curbs reactivity. And so we can show up for people and our family members in a calmer way when we can acknowledge our feelings, because it reduces the anxiety. But what I'm trying to say generally is just that it's natural to have so many feelings and intense feelings about this big transition towards our family members, towards ourselves, maybe grieving things that we can't do anymore that we used to be able to do, maybe having anger, irritation about people not showing up for you in the way that you wished. Again, it doesn't mean that you're devaluing people in your life. If irritated, you can love people in your life and be irritated at them at the same time. That's very natural. So even that in itself, I have to say, and I really want to emphasize this, and I know this may seem repetitive, but it's so important, you guys. When you know that it's okay to have mixed feelings towards the people you love, that in itself can reduce a lot of anxiety, just to normalize that. I have seen this in my office. Oh, so many times where there's like really? That's okay? Really? And when it's like, yes. Oh, the exhales that come and the reduction of anxiety. Oh, I love my baby so much. I would do anything for my baby. And I was so irritated. It doesn't need to be rational. We know that it's normal for babies to wake up and wake us up. It doesn't mean that we're not going to get irritated sometimes, right? It doesn't mean that we're not going to grieve the times before we could sleep for 9 hours if we wanted to. Okay. So all of this is natural, and just knowing that mixed feelings are natural, that the feeling of irritation is natural, can reduce a ton of anxiety. So this is really important. Now, I want to bring this to relational though really quickly, because again, I don't like the idea that moms are supposed to be figuring this out all by themselves. No. When you have a partner, a loved one, or any other adult that can be there for you in this, they should be there for you. That's the kind of help you deserve to have, okay? And anxiety is going to intensify if you're feeling emotionally alone. And if you're just carrying feelings silently or under the rug or suppressing them, that's going to increase the stress in your body. So again, like, let me give an example. If your partner goes back to work and you feel like you're just holding everything on your own and you don't know how to say it and you're worried about sounding needy, you're worried about getting rejected, and it just stays inside, you might be having irritation, you might be having grief about when you could just go to work and enjoy your cup of coffee in silence and peace, and then feel like, oh, I shouldn't be feeling those things. And then anxiety can come up. So that's just like a mini example. There's so many examples where just acknowledging that there's mixed feelings, okay? And knowing that you have every right to these feelings, and pushing back against narratives in the culture of like, you should just be grateful and that's that. You should just get through it and that's that. No, that's not helpful. Okay. So here are 4 relationship-centered ways that you can cope and help bring some relief with anxiety in early parenthood. Okay. A lot of people might advise to regulate yourself first and then seek co-regulation. And I don't agree with that. I think sometimes we can be a tangled mess and not really understand what we're feeling, but we can go to someone we love and say, I have no idea what the heck I'm thinking. I can't make a concrete thought in my mind, but I feel like a tangled mess. I'm so sad. And just say, I just like want a hug. And that's that. And then you can get a hug and you can get comfort and someone can just be present for you. And that will reduce anxiety. That will bring calm to your system. When that calm is given, when there's like this co-regulation given to your nervous system, when you feel safe because you know that someone's right by your side, that even though none of it may make sense in that moment to you or to them, it doesn't matter. You're struggling with something feels really tense, and you just want that presence, that care, that comfort. Okay. It's the opposite of rejection, right? So it helps you feel safe. That can actually then make it easier to exhale and say, oh, okay, I'm starting to understand, because you're in a safer place to do so and to start maybe putting some pieces together. Hey, I actually, want to hear more appreciation lately, or, oh, it made me so mad when my mother-in-law criticized such and such, and I've just been a tangled mess about it, and I really want to talk about it, etc. And you might know what those needs are. And relationally, when you're getting those needs met, be surprised how the anxiety can come pretty quickly. Remember, and I'll always say this, presence is going to matter more than problem solving. Problem solving immediately usually can feel dismissive sometimes. So knowing to ask for just listening, just curiosity can be helpful. Can you just be with me for a minute? I don't need advice right now. I know you mean well. I know you want to help, but actually what would be helpful is just to listen and be right by my side. Okay. Also, naming anxiety can reduce its intensity. It's almost like you're in control rather than anxiety is in control. Like just letting someone know, hey, I'm having really, catastrophizing thoughts today, or I'm just ruminating a lot today, instead of snapping or withdrawing, right? Because withdrawing is actually what I see most often, although both happen, which it's like all these thoughts come up or irritation comes up or just a tangled mess that doesn't seem clear. And the instinct will be to withdraw, because I think there's sometimes an assumption, even if it's not conscious to you, of like, I'm going to get rejected, or I'm not going to hear what I want to hear or need to hear. Fine. I'm going to have this tangled mess of feelings and I'm going to go withdraw. So actually it can be helpful just to let your partner know, hey, my thoughts are like going off the cliff today, or I can't stop having these intrusive thoughts right now, or my heart rate is like, just going at it. I just feel unsettled. And saying it out loud can actually be empowering. It gives your partner an opportunity to understand what's going on for you and then to be present. Okay. Like if you have the prescience to be able to ask, you could say like, hey, my brain is stuck on a loop of like thinking of worst case scenarios over and over. Can you help ground me for a minute? Or just say, I need some quiet. I need to go take a shower, because sometimes that can help too. Just having your time to yourself and some quiet time before you can go and make complete senses again. Look, the other thing, and I know I keep bringing this up in every episode, but the mental load, the invisible load, and navigating labor is always just going to be such a trigger for couples and a point of irritation. And then when that irritation gets suppressed, it's going to come into anxiety. So if like a mom is feeling that they need to be hyper vigilant all the time, that's also going to activate a sense of anxiety. Oh, I have to be hyper aware of everything at every time, tracking feedings, appointments. What's the wake window? What are the developmental toys we need to buy? When is that library story time? I have to go on the website. All of those things can be very exhausting. And so just saying like, hey, I need to share also in the thinking, not just the doing. I know you're doing this, this, and this, but some of the stuff I want to get off my plate. Can you make the appointments for the rest of the year, like the well check appointments, whatever it is, or can you just do the grocery list, whatever it is, to name it? Usually that can help, right? Because some of the anxiety is likely coming from some irritation about division of labor. I see that so often. And look, the emotional safety is important. If you are in an environment where, like, when you do share something or you make the effort to share something and it's getting dismissed, or it is what it is, or you're hearing you're overreacting, or the reaction is always defensive, I think it's good to make some agreements, especially in survival mode of like, let's not problem solve. Let's not be dismissive there's never any help with being dismissive, but like, let's not problem solve unless I'm asking for advice. And otherwise, can you just be curious? And if one of us is getting really overwhelmed and flooded, because that comes with anxiety too, we don't have to have the conversation now. This is such a big thing that, like, I know sometimes pausing conversations can be seen as avoidance or stonewalling with each other, like putting your partner off or their needs off. But actually, if one of you really is getting flooded, it's not going to be a helpful conversation. And so it's okay to pause and wait and then commit to when you're going to be able to talk again so that you make sure you're not brushing things under the rug and you're able to talk with each other about things that you're upset about. That's really important because the more it gets avoided, by the way, the higher anxiety is going to be, or the longer the anxiety is going to last. Look, postpartum anxiety, unfortunately, it's very common. There are so many factors that contribute to anxiety during this time. Moms and families and parents do not have the support system that we were meant to have most of the time. And so while everyone's wrapped up in logistical and survival mode, the emotional needs just don't get met. And this is a fragile time. And even if you're beyond postpartum, it's still a huge adjustment. It's still a big responsibility. And it's really important that you feel connected. And I think sometimes we treat anxiety as an individual issue, like therapists do this. We talk to them about what they can do and tips and tricks and toxic positivity and all these things. And of course, therapy is helpful. And I recommend that if, anxiety is really relentless for you, that you do seek mental health care. You deserve that. But I think a huge piece that's missing from the conversation from experts is what is going on in your relationship as you are experiencing this anxiety? What is unspoken to your partner when you're experiencing this anxiety? Because there's some feelings probably with your partner that aren't getting expressed. There are some needs that aren't, being said out loud that aren't getting met. And so when we lean in to all this opportunity in our relationships, I have seen anxiety lessen sometimes much more rapidly in couples work than in individual work, because just having that safety, knowing you're not going to get rejected, having a partner be accountable if something was hurtful, being responsive to needs, that is incredibly soothing and brings a sense of groundedness and safety. And that's what you want when you're raising children, right? What kind of climate do you want to foster with your partner so that you are well, your relationship is well, your partner's well? Okay, that's the best climate to raise children in. And if you notice that things like this are really hard, please reach out to me. I have a link to my website in the show notes below. Reach out to me, and I help a lot of families with this so that you can have relief and connection instead of strife and anxiety. I'm here for you and your family. See you next week. Goodbye.